Hello everyone! Today we're diving into one of the most underrated and detailed fights in Hunter x Hunter. When I watched this fight at 0.25x speed, I was amazed by how many hidden details were packed into just 20 seconds of action. Before we break it down, let's watch the sequence together. In this 20-second clip alone, there are more than 20 details, so let's dive into them. First, before the fight even begins, you can see Killua breathing and sweating heavily. That's because he had just been taking down Pito's puppet soldiers while covering almost the entire country of East Gorto. He was exhausted, but still razor sharp. Second, as Killua dodges the massive rock ball, look closely, you can spot a chimera ant sneaking behind a tree in a split second. It tries to slice him in half with its tail, but Killua reacts instantly, dodging and then twisting the ant's head so hard that it got decapitated, and then immediately move his position to kill another one. But look closely, it wasn't just the head, he also severed both of the ant's arms, completely neutralizing it, even though taking his head was enough. But that's Killua's proficiency when dealing with the ants. He doesn't leave any chance for error. He did the same thing during the palace invasion. He destroyed both of the ants' heads and then took their arms. At first I thought those are just overkill by Killua, due to his Zoldyck training to be extra careful because we all know taking just the head of the ant is enough. But then I realized something so mind-blowing. When Gon killed Pito, he destroyed its head, just like Kite told him to do. But Pito came back to life through post-mortem Nen and still managed to tear off Gon's arm, even without its head. That's when I realized if Killua were in his place, he wouldn't have stopped at the head. He would sever his limbs to fully neutralize threats. Even if Pito revived, it wouldn't have been able to fight back. And that's the difference between a hunter like Gon and an assassin like Killua. I just love this insane attention to detail. This is why Hunter x Hunter is one of greatest shows of all time. Nothing is random, no matter how tiny it is. Third, as Killua engages the rest of the squad, pay attention to the weapons each ant uses, because Killua ends up using all of them against their owners. Each ant is uniquely armed. One has 2 hammers and a pickaxe on a long tail. Another wields a long spear. A smaller one fights using a single long fang, likely poisonous. One uses long arms carrying a pickaxe, and the chimera ant Killua just took down was carrying a large bat. And this is where the show really begins. Strap in, because by the end of this sequence, Killua just might become your favorite character of all time. I'm breaking this down at 0.1x speed, by the way, because the details here are insane. The first to attack is the ant with elongated arms, followed by the smaller one with a long fang, and then the ant with a pickaxe on its long tail. Right off the bat, Killua grabs the small ant's fang, but notice how the tailed ant swings its pickaxe around a tree branch in a sharp angel, trying to hit Killua from his blind spot while attacking him from the front. Killua doesn't panic. He yanks the fang hard, launching the small ant away, and then casually grabs the corpse of the ant he killed earlier, using its head as a shield against the incoming pickaxe. He disposes of the body immediately to dodge the next strike. Then, in one fluid motion, he lets a spear pass cleanly between his arm and body while locking the long-armed ant's arm with one hand and using his momentum to pull the small fang ant again, still controlling multiple enemies at once. Meanwhile, the tailed ant is tossing the dead body away and then charges in with 2 hammers. He even slams them together in a split second. Bro thinks he's him. But then comes my favorite detail. Since Killua's right arm is occupied with the fang, Killua breaks the long-armed ant's hand with just a subtle shoulder twitch to front with a press of forearm inside. Then he pulls the broken arm toward himself to make it drop the pickaxe, all while tossing the small ant aside. And just as the pickaxe drops, the spear-wielding ant pulls back to strike again. Killua grabs the pickaxe midair and strikes the long-tailed ant's jaw with the chisel end. If you pause at just the right frame, you'll see the ant's teeth shattering, pieces flying in just 3 frames. Then Killua finally turns around and uses the pick side of the pickaxe to snap the enemy's spear in half. But he doesn't stop there. He takes the sharp tip for himself and throws the pickaxe straight at the big ant. At first it looks like the big ant just barely dodges it, but the pickaxe wasn't meant for him. It was aimed at the small ant Killua tossed earlier. With the distraction over, Killua instantly strikes the big ant in the head, killing him on the spot. Then, without missing a beat, he moves to the long-armed ant and finishes him by twisting his head cleanly. But notice the shuttered mouth of the ant that Killua hit earlier. As Killua goes in for the final blow, notice how he pins the ant down with his leg. He's completely in control. But just before he can finish the kill, the dung beetle ant crashes in, knocking down trees to interrupt the fight. Killua fails to land the finishing strike, and what he says next is important. I missed 2 of them. At first, I always wondered who was the second ant he failed to kill. It turns out it was the small ant with the long fang. Killua had stabbed it earlier with the pickaxe he threw, but that wasn't enough. Unless you destroy a chimera ant's head, they can often survive. So even though he landed the hit, the ant wasn't truly dead. Guys, this entire scene lasted less than 20 seconds, and the fact that they managed to cram this many details into it is just insane. At first I thought the anime added some extra flair, but no, it was adapted exactly like this from the manga, so huge props to both Togashi and the animation studio for pulling it off so flawlessly. And with that, I've wrapped up the first part of this incredible fight. Stick around, part 2 is coming soon.